What up, y'all? Welcome to another Two Lost Conversation. Today, I'm excited once again. We've been killing them with these conversations. The artists have been amazing. They're super talented. If you're not familiar with any of the folks I bring on here, I would suggest you follow them on Instagram and this guest likewise. This one, I would double down on this one because I did my deep dive and I was amazed by the quality, the visuals, the music. But her name is Julia Cooper. Julia, thanks for being here
Yes.
with me
Oh my
today.
gosh, of course. Thanks for having me.
And let people know where you're from and how long you've been making music.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Ohio, but I've been in LA for about 3 years now, a little over 3 years. And I started making music in 2021 when I moved here.
Awesome. And again, the music is amazing. Once you go to her Spotify page, it's going to say, Welcome to the Real World. And that's what I want to understand. What's
Yeah.
that concept? Welcome
Yeah.
to the real world. What are we exploring here? What is this idea? Are
Yeah.
we not in the real world?
We're getting there.
Okay.
Basically, I'm starting a rollout for my next project, which is called The Real World, which is like a conceptual project. And I released my first EP around this time last year. So yeah, this project is just like an iteration on that kind of. It's kind of like fancy alien space themed, and I'm really excited about it. We've dropped one single off of that project called Comet that I dropped last month, or what is it now, 2 months ago, or yeah, I think it was March. Yeah. And we're going to be releasing another one here shortly, and just kind of going to use the year to keep releasing as many songs as possible. And there's going to be about 7 of my first singles that'll be this whole project that'll come to fruition hopefully in the summer. Yeah.
So if this project is the real world, what is the world that I'm living in? And do you have a problem with this world? Is it deep? What's the problem with this world that I'm living in?
The idea that I had, I think like moving to LA for me was a huge deal. Obviously, I'm from very far away, and where I grew up is very different than LA. And for me, I think when I first got here, I was like really trying to fit in and like really trying to figure out where my place was in this like business and in this community that's in LA that I've found and love so much. And I think this project is just kind of like a journey through that and realizing that like there's nothing really external that's going to help you figure your shit out. You kind of are the one who has to figure it out, and nothing that happens to you, no matter how big or small, is going to make you feel better about yourself if you don't start with that like love and that confidence. And so the idea behind it is that there's this character who would be me, and she really is like looking for like another place. Like, oh, if I just move here, it'll be what makes me happy and it'll be where everything works out. And you kind of go through a journey to realize that maybe that's not always the case. It kind of starts from within, that you have to figure that shit out first, or it doesn't really matter where you are or what you're doing. You know, it's not going to feel as good if you don't have that from the beginning, kind of thing.
No, I love that. I love that concept. I always tell artists, actually, there's an artist that hit me up this morning and he makes great music. It's very consistent, but there's nothing more there's no strong messaging that you would know him for. There's nothing about his brand that's like very different. It's good music, and I think people will flock to the music, but why are they going to flock to him? What's he saying? And it seems, through your concept of the real world, like there's a deeper meaning here, there's a deeper message that fans can connect to at a deeper level.
Yeah.
So when did you start seeing like some traction with your music? Obviously most people don't just put out a song and it do amazing, but you have some songs that have done really well. When did you start seeing traction?
Yeah, well, I will say I did get really lucky, because when I came here, I kind of fell into a community who was pretty established already, which is obviously incredible. And they're a group of a bunch of artists who kind of had paved the way a little bit, so I could kind of use their connections, and like we all just help each other. I don't know if you saw my music video for Made in Heaven, but all of the girlies in that video, all of them are artists pretty much, in different, some are actors, we just have a really tight-knit core group of friends, and happens to be that we're all artists. So that was really helpful. And I put out a teaser for my song Sugar Rush, which was like the first drop of the last EP. And Jeremy Deegan from Apple Music reached out to one of my friends who had reposted it, who he knew already, and was like, oh my God, what is this? This looks so sick. And kind of from there, it was like Apple showed me a lot of support and just kind of helped bring my name out and show people my name. And everything else was kind of just a lot of posting on social media and just being as consistent as possible. And you know, I was on The Voice, so I have a lot of followers from there who are super supportive. And that was really helpful to like almost have that base of people before you start releasing, you know?
Nice.
But yeah, I would say definitely overall was just like so much consistency. I feel like I post 25 times a week, and I've kind of slowed down on that now. But at that point, it was like, TikTok was everything. So it was like me posting 16 times a day. And that was super helpful for me.
I didn't check out your TikTok. I just looked at Instagram and I saw there's not that many posts. Do you post a lot and take stuff down?
Yeah. So with this new rollout, I like kind of revamped like the whole page. So I did like, I keep up like all my reels. So I never really take those down, but the posts, this was like a kind of like a revamp, just to get people excited. And it helps me just as an artist too, to cleanse the palette of what I was doing before and kind of be like, okay, I'm stepping into this like new world, no pun intended, but like new project. And that just kind of helps me like just keep it inspiration. I feel more inspired when I do stuff like that. Then I don't know, posting is hard. So it's like, you got to find what works for you. And that helps me a lot.
Yeah. Well, it sounds, I mean, cause there's pros and cons to doing that. Typically, without knowing the artist, I would say there's more cons than pros. But it maybe in your case, it sounds like it's a healthier thing to do, and it makes more sense because not every answer is the same for every artist. There's variables, and that's why it's important to have these conversations to better understand like why you're making moves and what's working for you. I do want to go back a little bit because I'm from LA, and you said you found your community. I need you to let people know that LA is not filled with just grimy, shady people. Sounds like you met some people that were a positive community for you. And I just need you to talk about that a little more, just so we can represent LA in a different light.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I feel like just so lucky to have the people that are around me who I have. And I think LA, what's so fun about it is everyone here is just, well, I guess who I'm surrounded by, just like young creatives who like most of the time come from other places, and we're all just like trying to achieve the same thing. Maybe some are actors, like I said, and some are directors and whatever, but we're all just trying to do this full time, you know? And that is super inspiring to always have people around you that are pushing you to like keep trying and keep going, because it does get super hard. I mean, this is obviously such a hard business, and being independent as an independent artist, has other hard things that come along with that, and it can get discouraging. And I think not being from here has a power in it that it kind of gives you an extra drive, I think. And I've just always tried to surround myself with people who have that drive, and there definitely is a lot of people here in LA who have that drive in like the best way, not in the scary way, like in a really good and positive and inspiring way.
No, and you know, don't get me wrong. There definitely are some people out here with bad intentions, or people that just get desperate and do, you know, ridiculous things. So, but that's even more of a reason why you need to have that community of people that are positive and supportive. And if you come here from another city, I would try to make connection with those people before you get out here. Did you have people here before? I think you might have mentioned that. Did you have people here, or did you hit the ground and be like, okay, where are my people?
Yeah, so I knew two people when I moved to LA who had gone to college with my partner, and they were also musicians. So I did know two, and then they were super generous to be like, here's literally everyone we know, come into this community that we've kind of built. So yeah, I guess I kind of did, but it definitely wasn't like, you know, I wasn't gearing up to come here. I never really, to be honest, I never thought I would live in LA. This was such a random thing that happened, and it all fell into place and happened exactly how it should. But I never really had a plan until right before I moved here. I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to do this and see what happens. So.
Yeah. And then, once you start meeting people, once you find your tribe, like good people know good people.
Right.
So, you're probably going to get introduced to the same quality of people that you met initially. And then
Right.
now you have a more supportive community. You mentioned you were on The Voice. I didn't know that. When were you on The Voice and what was that experience like?
Yeah, I was on The Voice. I think it was it was 2020 actually. So that was crazy
Okay.
because it was during the pandemic. So I think my experience was definitely different, but I'm really grateful for the experience and I met a lot of amazing people and it taught me a lot about, I mean, that was the first time I was ever in LA. The whole it was just such a I grew so much from that experience as a person and also as an artist to figure out what I wanted to be, what kind of artist I wanted to be, or like what I wanted to show the world, and also because it was the pandemic, we were stuck in a hotel all day, couldn't leave your hotel room. So I had a lot of alone time and that was super healing for me at that time. Something that I really needed to just sit with myself and be like, what do we want? Like, where are we going? What's the next steps? And so that whole summer and into that fall of that year, and obviously the pandemic was happening. So it was like, it just felt right because there wasn't a lot to be doing anyways. And yeah, it was, like I said, I met a lot of amazing people and people who I still keep in touch with. And it helped me grow a fan base to kind of get started to make my own music. So it was definitely a super positive experience for me.
So did you try out in Ohio?
So
You
it's
got
kind of
selected?
weird. My whole introduction to it is kind of strange, but way before I got on, I had submitted a video to do it. I think I was in high school or I might have just graduated high school and I didn't get it. And I was still on their mailing list and they were doing like some kind of like open mic. I was living in Nashville at the time and they were doing an open mic there. And I had like made a promise to myself when I moved to Nashville to say yes to everything that I could. And so I got this like audition for this open mic. This was like, it has nothing to do with the show, but just audition for it. So I did. And I like screwed up the whole thing. I like sent in original music. You like weren't supposed to do that. I don't know. I like messed up the whole thing, but got that. And then a couple weeks later, a producer reached out and was like, we would love to have you on this season if you're interested. And kind of it all just fell into place from there. So
Yeah. No, I think there's so much to pull from your story already that is applicable to any artist that's trying to make this their career. So when you
yeah,
just said like say yes to everything, like you have to put yourself out there,
yeah,
right? Because it's not always about how many see you. A lot of times it's about who sees you.
right.
And again, it sounds like it was your experience as well. If there are still some decision makers that can secure a win for you, right?
Yeah,
So if there's somebody that can put you on a show or somebody that, gets you more exposure at Apple, always put your best foot forward and always, I'm not going to say yes to everything, but
right.
you have to be doing a lot, have to shoot a
Yeah,
lot of shots. You gotta
yeah,
shoot a lot of
100%.
shots.
Yeah.
So, with where you're at now, or another question: how do you even just feel right now about your position and just the music landscape in general? Are you feeling good about things?
Yeah, I think actually for the first time in kind of a while, I feel like I'm finding myself I don't think I know who I am as an artist. I'm not sure that ever happens. I think I'm always evolving and I'm growing. And because I'm so young too, it's like every time I release something, I find a new part of myself that like, oh, I really liked that, or I wouldn't do that again, or whatever it is. And I think there's like a beauty in that. And I think obviously you want to have fans and you want to have these big moments on the internet and all of that. And I think I've had to kind of let myself be okay with like where I'm at because I can kind of fall on my face and do kind of mess up and nobody will really know yet. And there's so much beauty in that. And I just have to believe that like when the time is right, those moments will happen for me. And I think I'm like, just, I don't know, I'm more at peace with my journey than I've been in a while. I think moving here, like I said, obviously it took a lot to get here and to get where I am. And it was really, really, really tough. And it's hard, like I said, as an independent artist to kind of find your place and do it alone. That's a hard thing to do. I don't have a team, I don't have a manager, any of those things. I would love to have one day, but it just hasn't fallen into place, So I think I'm more at peace now with like, where am I? And like, what are there's always pros and cons. And I think you just have to really force yourself to be like, there has to be some benefit to where I am right now. And how do I use that to get to the next step and get to the next level of where I want to be? And so I think I'm finally realizing that and being like, oh, okay, I can do whatever. I can try so many different things because not a ton of people are watching it. And then when people are, you got to stick to that, So I think I'm excited for that I kind of still have that time to figure that out for myself.
And I think even when you get a lot more eyeballs, you'll have the ability, or you have to continue to evolve as an artist, right?
100%,
So you never, especially these days, don't fear that you're going to make some big mistake just because a lot of people are watching. I feel like these days, some people might be making these mistakes on purpose because these mistakes bring attention, right?
Yeah.
So it's a weird game these days, but I definitely wouldn't fear like making a misstep, whether you're at this level or the next level.
Yeah.
One of the things that strikes me when I look at your visuals is just like the quality of them. And I know as, pursuing music as a woman is definitely different than a guy. There's more pressure on the aesthetic and things like that. Like, how are you maintaining the quality at this level that I'm seeing pretty much in every post and everything that you do?
Yeah. Honestly, amazing friends who are willing to work for cheap, to be honest, and just believe in me and the project. And that's the honest truth, is like finding the people who, because, we've reiterated, I'm so independent, so I obviously don't have a huge budget. And I think what that has taught me as an artist and just as a human is to just be prepared. Come in with a really strong idea and people are willing to be like, damn, that's really sick. And I would want to work on that. I want to be a part of that. And so it obviously starts with, I do so much prep work on the back end before I'm introducing it to anyone of here's my concept. I'm storyboarding on my own. Like I'm kind of getting out the kinks ahead of time because I don't have the luxury to do that with a team. And then coming to people and being like, this is a really strong idea and I already know what shots I need. And, we already know exactly what we want for this. And that I found as being independent, it's a lot easier for people to come in and be like, oh, I can help in this way. And so kind of, I guess, taking on the creative on my own, which I love and probably will continue to do forever, no matter if I do have a budget. I've directed or co-directed everything that I've ever put out, whether it's a music video or just even the rollouts. I try really hard to have a very specific rollout on social media for every single. And those moments, that's one of my favorite parts about being an artist is like once you're making this project, bringing it over into the visuals and really creating that world, like making it so tangible that people can latch on to. And I think having that as a strong idea before you like come into the room with someone to ask them to shoot it or whatever it is super helpful, especially being independent.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think one of the reasons that that you're starting to win, and I think will continue to do so, is you're embracing the things that aren't just about making music. Like it's the whole creative process. You're not waiting for anybody to come help. One of the videos I made a week or so ago is I tell artists like, hey, approach this like you're never, ever going to get help ever, because you don't know when it'll happen. And it might be a very long time before somebody does step in.
Yeah.
You started stacking all of these different skills outside of being able to sing, and you're starting to make things move. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're starting to attract help. I think because you are pushing the car yourself, but also like people see the potential in you. I think when people see that there's something here, they want to be a part of something great. And you are doing all of these other things that to keep the ball moving.
Right.
It helps you attract help earlier than you probably would have gotten.
Right.
And then I'm assuming you just are a cool person and you are respectful and professional, I would hope.
Right.
Those are the other things that help, bring people on or keep people in the fold.
Yeah. 100.
Is there anything like that I haven't touched on that you think is contributing to what you're starting to build? Like, what is like
Oh, that's a good
some
question.
other key factors?
Yeah, I think, oh man, that's such a good question. I feel like, yeah, I think just having this conversation, like giving a platform to artists who are smaller, is so beneficial for not only me, but like people who are listening, to kind of be like, you can do this on your own. And I think that's such a huge, and will always be such a big part of my story, because it's so daunting. It's a crazy
Yeah.
world right now, and there's so much going on, and so much is being made, and so many things are happening. And it kind of, yeah, I think that's just a huge part of my story. And I feel really grateful to be able to talk about it, and show people that it is doable. It's scary and it's going to be hard, but if you just stay as true as you can to yourself, and I know everyone says that, but it's so true. Like, figure out who you are, what you like, what you want, and then like fully commit to that. Just fully send that, and it's going to happen at some point. It might take longer than you thought, it might be quicker than you thought, you never know, but I think, yeah, that's just how it all works for anyone, independent or not. I think you just have to fully commit to yourself and take yourself seriously and take what you want seriously.
Yeah. Now, I need to ask this question. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way because I have no idea the background or the history, but
Okay.
just the look and the eyebrows or
Yeah.
lack of eyebrows. Is that, I mean, you may be born with no eyebrows and you made it work for you, but, is this a look for, I have to ask, I just have
Yeah,
to ask
yeah,
the
yeah.
question. What is,
So
okay.
throughout this next project, it kind of was like a piece of the real world. And I also, in the visuals, as you saw probably, but I have blonde hair in the visuals. So they're just bleached. They're still here, but
Oh, they're just bleached. Okay. But it works. It's part of the, it makes you stand out. I always feel like artists, you need something that makes you stand out a little
yeah.
bit that people can remember.
I will say, these eyebrows, I've realized, obviously I'm not wearing a blonde wig now and I'm keeping them. And that was something that I found in this project that made me be like, damn, this makes me feel really confident and makes me feel good, even in everyday life. And that's a perfect example of these little things that contribute to your artistry and like who you are as a person. And now we're talking about it in this interview. Clearly it was
Yeah.
something that like caught your attention or whatever it is. And not that you're like doing things for people's attention, but it's something that I love that maybe I was like scared to do a year ago or whatever. And I just committed to the bit, and now I'm like feeling more confident and, better than before. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
No, I mean, artists need things like this that are part of their story. And it's not that you did it just to get attention, but there's
Right.
meaning. It's part of,
100%.
the messaging that you're trying to impart upon people through your music. So it all needs to connect. So
100%.
I love it. What's kind of frustrating you at the moment? If you can snap your finger right now and like solve one of your problems as an
Yeah.
independent artist, like which problem are we solving?
I think like funds, having more of a budget is always going to be the hardest thing, because I think what a lot of people don't realize that who aren't in the industry, I think getting that team and having that manager and signing to that label or whatever it is amazing and will help you, but there's still so much work that the artists are doing, even with a label, even with a huge team. Like, you're still coming up with these ideas. You're still deciding if you're going to bleach your eyebrow. There's so much that you're still doing. And so to me, while that would be absolutely incredible and I know that would help, I think budget at the end of the day is the biggest thing, because I have these ideas and sometimes it's just that you can't execute them in the way that you want, because of the budget. And not that if I had a manager there or not, if I still had no budget, I wouldn't be able to execute them. You know what I mean? So I think currently, like where I'm at right now, the biggest thing is just finding those funds. And I'm paying for a lot of stuff just like out of pocket. Like, I still have a day job to fund my art, and that's really maybe inspiring to some people, but it's really hard. And I don't want to be doing the things that I'm doing as my day job. I'm just doing them to survive right now. And again, that's just a part of my journey. But yeah, I think that's like the biggest the biggest hurdle that I'm like facing right now.
So people that have followed me for a minute, I've probably said this many times, like every single year. I'll tell artists that like, hey, not having money is not your biggest issue.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's not an issue, and I'm not saying that what you just said is wrong. It's
Right.
very real. You're living it in real time.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot, and you may not fit into this case, but I feel like a lot of artists, even if I gave them $30,000 today for it, like they wouldn't even know what to do with it. However, just listening to you in a short amount of time, it sounds like you've thought a lot of this through.
Yeah.
And it might be a different case with you because of the content that I've seen just in this past week. And I can see how you potentially can maybe take things to the next level if you were
Right.
if you did get access to a bigger budget. So you might be an exception. But I'm known for telling artists like, hey,
Yeah.
funds is not your biggest issue. So somebody might call me out on that and be like, "Hey, Dave, you told me." Well, no, this has been amazing. Can you just let people know where they can find you and when we can expect new music?
Yeah, yes. On all platforms, my username is Julia Cooper Music. I'm on Spotify and Apple Music and all of the places that you could listen to music pretty much. I'm planning on having a new single out in probably, hopefully, at least next month. And then every month after that, we're releasing a single until summer. So that would be like when the whole project drops. Yeah, there's a lot of big stuff coming. I have some super exciting stuff happening in the fall. And yeah, just be on the lookout for all of that.
Yeah, check out the music it's more soulful than I expected.
Yeah.
Go Stupid.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff just caught me by the music is dope. Like people
Thank you
should
so
tap
much.
in and listen to the music
Mm-hmm.
last question, I forgot to ask, who are some of your inspirations?
I would say older inspirations. I was like, this is like kind of weird, but super into Janis Joplin and like, especially like Motown era. And then as I grew up and like Amy Winehouse, like all of her, especially like writing wise. But as I grew up, I got really into like Jasmine Sullivan and Erykah Badu and just like 90s R&B pop stuff. But now I think as I have been in LA and I'm like, especially thinking about visuals and like taking your artistry to the next level, SZA, Kali Uchis, Ariana Grande, all of those amazing vocalists and R&B girls are definitely huge inspirations now.
Now I can hear it because I'm often just stuck in the late '90s, early. That's where like,
Yeah.
I that's what I default to.
Yeah.
People know that I'm a big R&B fan, so I can hear a lot of older, or at least my generation of music in your music.
That's awesome. That's
so
so refreshing to hear. That's what we're going for.
Nice. Stick around. I'm gonna stop the interview in a second, but stick around because I definitely would like to chop it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this has been another episode of Two Lost Conversations. We just have some of the dopest artists on our platform. What can I say? We got so much amazing talent. You should tap in. If you're not familiar with Two Lost yet, use my promo code. You get 3 months free. It's just Dame. You can log in, check it out, and you can see that I'm not lying. We got the best music distribution platform out there, and you can check it out for yourself. So until next time, this has been another episode of Two Lost Conversations. Julia Cooper, check her music out. Peace.